Today's segment of SoundBalming is brought to you by Jimmy and Mary's Authentic Body Care. I cannot express to you how much we love their products. Although we use them all year, as the weather gets colder, we need these products even more. The dreaded drop in temperature, the dryness, the itchiness, and the unnecessary flakiness is inevitable. Shea butter from Jimmy and Mary's Authentic Body Care is the only thing that works for my skin and hair needs. Not only do these products cure my dry skin, the whipped butter goes on smoothly and doesn't leave that uncomfortably thick, sticky residue. Bonus? It smells absolutely amazing. There are so many different scents to choose from too. Not only do they carry skincare products, there are products for authentic living, face, shower, hair and beard, spritzers and perfumes, and bath products. Let me tell you, we cannot even keep the stuff in the studio. The entire production team as well as all our children use Jimmy and Mary's product. Jimmy and Mary's take pride in creating quality, handcrafted products from simple ingredients for the entire family. Their products are made for all skin types and are 100% handmade, 100% vegan, and 100% cruelty-free. Skincare is important. Moisture is key, and keeping our skin and hair hydrated is essential. I cannot emphasize how much we trust Jimmy and Mary's for all of our skincare needs. Hurry on up to jimmyandmarys.com and check out their products. Did I mention service is fast and efficient too? Don't forget to mention that you heard about Jimmy and Mary's Authentic Skincare on SoundBalming. Use the discount code SoundBalm20 to get 15% off. That's SoundBalm20 for 15% off at Jimmy and Mary's Authentic Skincare.
Hey everybody, welcome to SoundBalming. I created this show for people who want to experience a radical, life-changing journey through the sounds of my diverse guests. I hope that each sound you hear on this show will strengthen your faith, encourage your dreams, and challenge you to awaken the greatness within you.
Drop the bombs. Drop the bomb. We're gonna drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We're gonna drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We come to drop the bomb. Drop the bomb.
This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new values, and a new experience.
LaMarr Darnell Shields.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time of the day it is, you are here with me, your man, Dr. LaMarr Darnell Shields, and welcome to my show. I am the host of SoundBalming. I am the creator of SoundBalming and one of the executive producers. And my goal with this show is to introduce you to people with ideas that will help you unlock your full potential. And you're probably looking at my guest sitting there like, I've seen her before. She's been in the SoundBalming studio. Yes, she has. And I'm so excited that she's joining me today for a special, you hear me, a special edition of SoundBalming. While the idea of connecting with the supernatural realm might conjure up images of gypsies and crystal balls, those stereotypes don't hold true to the modern psychic. Nor do the reality shows involving ghost hunting, clairvoyance, or sobbing celebrities communicating with dead people. Although skeptics are quick to debunk psychics' abilities as pseudoscience, I'm not one of them. I am a firm believer of psychic abilities such as clairvoyance, telepathy, intuition, aura reading, just to name a few. I've also been told that I have similar gifts, but don't we all? Listen, don't answer that last question. I have someone who you're looking at right now joining me today that will tell you the answer to that. To get a glimpse of the reality of working psychic, I invited my friend Barbi Dahl, a California-based medium, to SoundBalming a few months ago, and we had an immediate connection. And one of the aspects that I found refreshing in Barbi's approach is her belief that everyone possesses psychic abilities, and I don't really like that word. We're going to talk about that. But for you all, we're going to use that, but we're going to talk about some other words. But the psychic abilities, but might not know how to harness them. Well, while other kids her age were playing dress up, 7-year-old Barbie was reading her friends. Not reading her like reading her, but you know what I mean? Reading her friends, but she knew she was different than other children, and so did her friends and family. Barbie's sole purpose is to bridge the gap between the living and the deceased in order to bring comfort, closure, and hope to those who seek it. Her fresh, honest, and down-to-earth approach has earned her a vast and loyal following. Barbie has the ability to communicate through mediumship and her psychic clairs. She is also a channel for which spirit uses her to directly communicate to the world. She relays the messages she is given through one-on-one readings, via teaching classes to help others develop their own abilities. She got me so much, I decided to join her class. Listen, if you don't believe me, I want you to take a listen to some of the people who've joined her class and some of the people she got a chance to hang out with. So let's check them out for a second.
Doing a reading with Barbie is honestly the ultimate healing. Not only can she connect with past family members that have passed away, but she can also connect with animals. And she connected with my Shih Tzu that passed under kind of mysterious circumstances. And I was able to really find closure. And it helped me with my grieving process. And he was honestly my first, child. He was my furry child and part of the family. And that was a big part of healing and being able to move on and adopt another dog and kind of move forward with life. So, healing and grieving and moving forward. And that's a big part of what Barbie does and she's able to help you with. So I highly recommend, if you're thinking about a session with Barbie, to go for it. And you're not going to regret it. You're going to find something that she's able to help you with, and it's going to help out greatly.
Working with Barbie is impossible to imagine. But in that impossibility, she's able to take all of your thoughts and provide them to you. Cover all of the things that you could possibly want to know and things that you had never imagined or dared to ask. It truly is transcendent of anything that I've ever experienced, and I'm still appreciative that she shared this gift.
Barbie is food for the soul. I had a reading a few weeks ago that offered specifics, clarity, and closure. By far one of the best readings I've ever had.
I think the greatest gift I ever received was during a reading with Barbie. She helped me reach my grandparents that had passed. And honestly, being able to get a message from them just one more time helped me heal and also strengthened my thoughts about the other side. So I would highly recommend a reading with Barbie. It absolutely changed my life.
Hey, Barbie, welcome back. Welcome again to SoundBalming. I'm so excited that you decided to hang out with me today. How are you doing? Did I lose you?
You did lose me, but I'm back.
How are you doing?
I am good now.
I'm like, did the psychic spirits take her away? Listen, round 2, we are back at this again. Well, round 3, I did enjoy your class. Now, I love that class, but I said to you, I'm on the East Coast, and you cannot have a class at 10 o'clock, at 11 o'clock at night when people live on the East Coast. I was fighting that I was nodding like this, pretending like I was paying attention, but actually I was paying attention because I learned so much. But listen, we back at this again. How are you today?
I'm amazing. Thank you for having me.
So how did you feel listening to some of the people that you work with give you such great compliments about your gifts?
It's an honor. So every time I read with somebody, I feel honored. I feel honored that the spirits come and they trust me enough to give their messages. I feel honored enough that people allow me to be that medium, to be the person in the middle, to give the messages. It's amazing every day. It never gets old. And you always, I mean, sometimes I get emotional. You just feel so grateful to be able to be in this space to give these, to give healing to people.
Well, I am grateful and I'm honored that we decided to put our minds and our spirits together and say that we want to do some work together. I mean, I get a chance to hang out with a lot of people. A lot of people come through the SoundBalming doors. We have great conversations. Some are better than others, some are not, but they just all bring something. But it was something about us coming together where we said, we really want to help people. We really want to help people who are struggling with many of the things that they're struggling with. We want to help people unlock their full potential. And I want to just publicly thank you for allowing me to sharpen my skills, allowing me to understand the value of intuition and spirit and really looking at these things. My mother would always say stuff like, something told me. I'm like, Ma, what is something? Who is something? Instead of just saying spirit told me or God told me or Mother Earth told me, we say something. And so I want to just thank you for really tapping into that. And so today is a special evening because we have some people who are going to join us, who are bold enough to join us, who are excited. And I know we have some skeptics in the room, but I'm so excited that they're going to be joining us. Let our listeners at home know what should they expect from these three people that are going to come into the room with us.
Okay. Well, it's always a surprise to me. So we'll start off with that, right? So the way that it works is that I will just get messages. So when you have three people in the room, what you're doing is you're fighting for messages and trying to keep them in line, right? So it's like, let's say there's 10 people in the room talking, because for me on the spirit side, I'm hearing all of these different voices so that I have to channel, okay, you're talking, let's try to figure out who you're talking to, what your message is. But then if I have this other strong character over here, let's say grandma's super strong in energy and she doesn't like the fact that, Joe Smith over here is talking, she might start giving me messages. So my job is to try to figure out who's giving messages for whom and try to keep people in line. So it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. And so we chose three special people to participate. Now I must tell you, when Barbie and I were preparing for this in the green room, and I said, Barbi, how are you doing? She said, I'm great, but I don't know about you. I'm like, listen, you're not reading me. This is not about this is about these three people, because she knows I'm an artist. I want to get this thing right, whatever that means. I really believe in these gifts, but it's not really about me. It's about the people that I'm bringing into this space. And of course, I am hard on myself. I am hard on myself because I really believe in not only what you have, but I also believe in what I have. And I think the fact that the two of us came together, I don't think the world is ready for a Barbie and a brother Shields in the same space at the same time. I don't know what the spirits have for us, but I'm so excited. So you ready to get these people in the room?
I am ready.
All right. We are about to get these folks into the room and the party is about to begin. The party is about to begin. We are coming into the room. I see some people that are already here. We are excited about what's happened with you all right now. So I want to welcome to the SoundBalming Studios. I see an empty chair, but I think that's Rebecca's chair. I want to welcome Sybil. I want to welcome Rebecca, who's running to the camera, and I'm hoping Gent is going to turn his camera on. So I want to introduce my good friend all the way from California. She goes by the name of Barbi. Her sole purpose is to bridge the gap between the living and the deceased in order to bring comfort and closure to many of you all. I just want to say that you all are special to me. The three of you all were chosen to participate in this very first show. When Barbi and I hung out together and we did a reading, I interviewed her. And she says, Darnell, just take your pen and just write down some names. And I did write down 5 names, and 2 of those people pulled out. But there was some people that Spirit was like, you need to ask them because they're going through some things. Now, what's interesting is many of you all, just by a show of hands, if this is your first time sitting down with a medium or a psychic, just raise your hands. Your very first time. All right, look. I love Jen's face. See, we love the people, the skeptics, the people that don't know what the hell is about to happen. The people like, man, I done seen this on TV. We know the people that have watched Ghost, Whoopi Goldberg, when she was pretending like she spoke to that Latina sister, right, Sybil? And that Latina sister was giving that money. So today is your day. I want to introduce my friend all the way from the West Coast. Put your hands together for one of the dopest mediums, clairvoyants that I know. Put your hands together for Barbi Dahl in the building. Hey, Barbi, you ready?
I'm ready. Okay, so I have to start off by just saying very simply, Darnell has not told me anything about you guys, but the first thing that I got very quickly was that Gent is going to be the hardest person for me because he's a cynic and he does not believe in this. Can I cuss on this?
You always
okay.
can. Yeah, Jen said,
yeah. He does not, okay, I'm going to say it like this. He does not believe in this bullshit. Okay, so on the other side, Spirit's telling me, girl, you have to really provide evidence for this man in order to change things for him. So I'm going to do my best. Okay. The way that it works for me. Oh, and they gave me a list in order of believers, by the way. So Gent is on the very bottom of the list. We have Rebecca's in the middle. Rebecca's like, I believe a little bit, but you still got to prove yourself. Sybil's like, yeah, let's go, girl. So that's the way that it goes.
Let me tell you what Sybil said to me when I talked to Sybil. She said, boy, I'm Latina. I'm Hispanic. You know we believe in that. You know we believe in it. So before we get into it, I want each one of you all to introduce yourself. Sybil, since you're the believer, we want you going to go first. Introduce yourself, what you do, just real quick. Rebecca, you following right behind, and then my male Gent, L Boogie. You're gonna end it out since you are the skeptic, as we heard. Go ahead, Sybil, and not a whole lot of information. Go ahead.
I'm Sybil Perez. I'm based out of California. Just depends on the day of the week, what coast I'm on. And yeah, that's me.
Rebecca?
My name is Rebecca Beach. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. I've met LaMarr through conferences. We work in the education field.
I am Lorrington Gent. I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
That's all we're going to get for him.
None of this bullshit that y'all about to say to me. Darnell is my friend, and I trust him. That's why I'm here. Let's get this party started.
Okay, so for me, let me just tell you a little bit on how it works for people who are listening, and also for all three of you guys. When we have more than one person that I'm reading, we basically think about it as like 10 people trying to talk to me at the same time, right? I have spirits fighting for me to be able to touch base with them and give the message to you. So it's like charades. So they'll just give me bits of information. Sometimes I'll get feelings. Sometimes I'll get names. Sometimes I'll get things that you would recognize for yourself. I'm also an intuitive, right? So sometimes I'm going to get messages that are going to give you guidance, and they might be coming from spirit guides or things like that. They may not be coming from somebody who passed over on the other side. So they will start giving me things that are will help me recognize. So I'll just start they'll start giving me things and I will just start spitting them out. And then at some point they're going to become familiar to somebody. And then you own the familiarship. You never agree to something that doesn't make sense. Sometimes I might say something that it doesn't currently make sense to you, and you might take it later and it might make sense, but just understand that I'm just giving the messages, but don't agree. If it doesn't belong to you, you don't take it. Okay. Cause it also could belong to somebody else. So we might be switching from one person to one person to one person, since we have three people in here. So I can tell you, before we started, I had somebody who came to me and they said they passed recently. So passed recently means that they passed over to the other side within the last few years. It wouldn't be somebody who'd passed like 10, 15, 20 years ago. This person also gave me the feeling of having a racing heart. So a racing heart could be adrenaline. It could be a heart attack. It could or like maybe an anxious person. They just gave me the feeling of having an anxious heart, like a racing heart and a stomach ache. So does anybody understand anybody who passed recently who had like a racing heart and I would get like a stomach ache from them? No, I can keep going. So we'll see if they're still here. It's so crazy because they're always on the spot for about everything. So, okay, that person doesn't feel like they're here anymore. So we're going to go into what feels like a female character that's coming in. She is a grandmother figure. She's coming in strong, like a strong personality. She was a fuller figured female is what she's showing me. She is a grandmother, which I already said. Sorry, guys. It's when I'm first starting, it takes a little bit of time to get into the energy, especially when there's so many in the room. I'm asking her how she passed so that can give you guys a little bit more evidence. So when I ask her how she passes, she just makes me have feeling on my left side over here. So left side over there could be anything from like sometimes it can be like from like a stroke, because like usually my left side comes in as this person of having a stroke. They don't have to have passed from a stroke, but they would have had a stroke in their life. It could also be somebody who like fell and hit this side of their head. Anybody, grandmother figure that had like a stroke or fell and hit the side of the head. The stroke does not need to be why they passed. She says that she was stern in her life. So somebody who was like, she's going to tell you how it is. She's going to tell you what you are and are not allowed to do. She's going to be very strict is what she says. So she's not somebody who was like, she was loving and caring, but she is not somebody who was, she like, if you fell and hurt yourself, she would put a Band-Aid on it and tell you need to get up and get going again. Okay. So she's not somebody who's going to be sitting there saying like, oh, look at you have a little boo-boo. Let's like, fix your boo-boo. She was very much that type of person. I'm sorry, Sybil, this feels like it belongs to you. She says the word abuela. And so I don't think either of the other two speak Spanish. And I feel like for you, for some reason that this belongs to you. So, because I'm asking, like, I need more information so that you guys can feel validated by this. And she's saying that she belongs to you. She also comes through with a male figure. So this would be somebody that she was with. They could be a husband or a brother, but she comes through with a male figure on the other side too. And when I say grandmother, it doesn't always mean the direct grandmother. Sometimes it could be the great grandmother, but it is a grandmother and it does come through for you. Okay. So she is saying she did see you. So she did know you. So she's saying that she is somebody who knew you while you were here in this life. She did say that it feels like when she was here in this life, you did get to see her, but it doesn't feel like you got to see her for a long extended period of time. So I'm not sure if she passed when you were like younger, but she doesn't feel like she got to see you get older in life. She feels like it was too cut short for her as far as that lifespan goes, as far as your life with her goes. So do you understand the grandmother passing over who has the male with her?
Yes.
Okay.
It'd be my uncle.
Her son. Okay. Okay, well, he is not talking. She's the one who's talking right now. And do you understand? Because she still does this to me. So this to me is the left side, right? So this to me is like something going on over here. Where did she pass from?
I'm not completely sure. It may have been a stroke. I know she had like diabetes and she had a few health ailments. She had neck surgery too. So she was
surgery right here.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that makes sense.
So yes, now it does make sense. Yeah.
Okay.
She had it was her. Yeah.
Oh, and that's the thing. So remember, like I'm playing charades, right? So they're just like, she's showing me this part here. And I have to understand, like, what do you mean by this part here? And so if she had neck surgery, that's her way of trying to like identify who she is. And so that's good that you like recognize that the neck surgery part of it. I'm asking her what it is that she wants to tell you and why it is that she decided to come in. Is she your mother's mother?
Yes.
Okay, because she's bringing up the mother part of it. So I feel like your mom is still alive. She needs to tell your mom. She just wants to just communicate with your mom that she came by. She came here kind of basically as you're a medium to your mom, so that she can acknowledge her daughter. It feels like for me, she's just bringing up the fact that, like, again, when she was a mother, but also a grandmother, but more of a mother, she just doesn't feel like she was very, and it sounds, I don't like to say this word, but comforting, right? So she didn't feel like that she comforted her children enough. She didn't give them the come here, sit on my lap, let me kiss your boo-boos type of thing. So I feel like she's acknowledging that for your mom so that she can kind of just give your mom that, like, I know that when I was alive, I wasn't that comforting. And I mean, she was a good mom. She wasn't a good mom, but she wasn't like, she just feels like she lacked in that area and that she could have done more in that area and that she needed to pass that message on to the family, just acknowledging the fact that now that she's on the other side, she realizes that she could have been there more in the emotional part of it. Like, I feel like it was just like getting through the day, strict. Let's get everything done that we can get done through the day. And she doesn't feel like she really felt like she got to sit and enjoy everything in her life. And so now that she's on the other side, she's taking the opportunity to say, like, well, one, she gets to sit and enjoy everything on the other side now too. So she likes to see the family and likes watching the family, and she's proud of the family, but mostly just that, like, when she was alive and she didn't have that opportunity, she just wants to say that she's taking that opportunity now and that she loves you guys. And that she wants to be able to kind of give you like that love that she didn't give you guys in person. So she's showing me a picture of a heart, like she's sending hearts, like just trying to convey the fact that she just wants, I felt like maybe she didn't get to convey that how much she loved people. She wants to convey how much she loved people. She just didn't know how to do it, because for her, it was just getting the job done. It was this needs to be done. This needs to be done. This needs to be done. And that was just kind of rigid in the way that her life was. And so she just now wants to be like, I need to be able to make sure that they understood that even though I was trying to get everything done all the time and I was a little bit hard on people, it's only because I love them, and make sure that they understand that now, that they understand that. So if you could pass that message along to your mom, because I feel like she needs healing from that. Like maybe she didn't feel good enough, or whatever the case may be. She needs to understand that her mom realizes that she wants her to know she is good enough. She did good enough. She did a good job. She wants her to give that acknowledgement, because somehow that her daughter needs to heal a little bit more from whatever happened during her childhood.
Sybil, any thoughts? Any thoughts about what was said? Anything that you've heard?
When she first started talking about it, I thought that would have been mine. I thought it might have been my grandmother. What's funny is, as like 5 minutes before the call, I kept thinking to myself, like, maybe I should give my mom the call. Cause like my mom, like I had just talked to her like a little bit, like an hour ago. And I was thinking like, maybe I should give my mom the call. Like maybe I should give her the link. Maybe she should be the one, to go on the call. But I knew she was at work, and I knew she couldn't, she wouldn't have been able to do it. So I didn't even offer it to her. So for you to come on and, say that, and my grandmother, she worked a lot. Like there were 7 of them in the house. So, she worked a lot, to provide. And she was always the one, just to say, like, even as a teenager, growing up, like I got to see her periodically because she lived in another country, but she was that grandma that's like, you have to live life a certain way. You have to be a certain way, in everybody's eyes, and God first. And, she was strict, but, she loved us, but was never that lovey-dovey type of like, oh, just come cuddle with me and, things like that. So I'm not sure. I haven't talked to my mom a lot about how she grew up. I knew that my mom, she was close to her and she loved my grandmother a lot, but I'm not too sure. So that would be,
so this very specific message from your grandmother to your mom is to tell your mom that she's good enough. And it's like those specific words that she needs to hear, that she's good enough. So if you could pass that along. And do you understand why your uncle's taking ownership for his death? So when people take ownership for their death, somehow they cause their own death, whether like they did something to themselves, they didn't take care of their health, but like he's taking ownership for his own death. How did he die?
I believe he was in an accident, like a motorcycle accident.
Okay. Was he drinking and driving or anything like that? Because to take ownership for his own death, he had to be part of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He passed away before I was born.
Okay. For some reason, he feels it's important to take ownership for his own death. And so maybe that could be a message to your mom as well. Sometimes when people pass away, we take on the guilt of feeling like we could have done this or we could have done that, or maybe we didn't get to say goodbye. If somebody passes away too soon, we don't get to say goodbye or whatever the case may be. But he does come in and somehow take ownership for his death. So maybe he went on a ride and people told him not to go on a ride. I'm not sure why he's taking the ownership. He's not being specific about it, but he is taking ownership for that. Okay. So ownership is just to kind of help us in the human world to relieve the grief, or some people will carry guilt over relationships and things like that. And so there is a message in there for your mom. She should understand why he's taking ownership for his own death. Okay.
He actually died on the day my brother was born.
Okay. Yeah. I'm asking them if they have any more messages for you.
And for Jen, and while you guys are here, we're going to give you an opportunity if you have some questions that you've written down as well, but we'll come around as well.
Yeah. So Sybil, while they're here, do you have any questions for anybody that's because I have your family, right? So do you have any questions, one about yourself, because they can give me guidance for you, and or with any questions for anybody on the other side?
As far as like guidance, just in general, like, am I on the right path?
Yeah, but it's so they're saying, it's not, and this, it's not going to be easy, right? So you're going to have to put some work into it that is above and beyond what you're, not what you're used to, because you're a hard worker, but it just feels like it's gonna take some work. So you're in for a ride, is what they say. So meaning, so do you understand? You're gonna have, this is gonna be harder than what you originally thought. Okay, and that you'll succeed and you'll be good, and you'll do well at it. But understand that there is a lot invested and a lot of work that's going to be needed to be done. Okay. Do you understand that message? Because I don't know what you do. So, okay. Yeah. And to believe in yourself, by the way, and to believe in yourself. It's like you believe in yourself, but you got to keep believing in yourself, because it's not going to be easy. Okay. So make sure that when things get hard, that you're like, this is why I chose this. This is the reason why I wanted to do this. And keeping like some sort of like a, they're showing me like a, just a reminder on why you started the whole thing. So whatever it is that you're doing, there's a reason why you started it, and that to keep it yourself as a reminder as to why you're doing it. Okay.
Any other questions, Sybil?
Does that help you? Okay. You're shaking your head. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So Rebecca and Jen, any questions, or you want us to move to you?
It doesn't work like that. You want me to move to you? It doesn't work like that. Hold on. Let me get down my list.
I think you need to get Barbie.
Oh my God.
Well, sometimes like it's so when I do this day to day, oftentimes I will start off and it will be, it starts off as an intuitive reading, right? So the easiest way for me to do things is when people ask me questions, because as soon as I get connected to you, then that is when everybody else starts coming in, right? Because now I'm connected to your energy. So it's when I'm sitting here and we're on a TV and we're doing this thing, and I'm not actually like, assigned to have like a reading specifically with you, then it's hard to connect to a bunch of different energies. So if you have intuitive questions that you want guidance on, then you can start asking me those questions. And then your family members often will come in and start talking to me about stuff. Okay. It's like when I was going on with Sybil, and I have no idea what she's doing, but just to understand that was her message, and that meant something to her. I don't know what it is. I can only tell you what they say. So Jen isn't a believer.
I just don't. I'm trying to do this like it organically. Just everything's blank. I'm here, but I got a lot on my mind, but I just don't.
So Jen, let me ask you a question. When I first asked you about doing this, was there something that just immediately just jumped out at you that you were like, man, I would want to know this about whatever it is? Did anything just when I brought it to your attention?
No,
and the same
not
for
really.
you, Rebecca.
It didn't. I'm just saying. I'm just going with the flow. I'm just trying to have an open mind about it. It's funny that you said that, because I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. So, I think that's the only thing that, like, okay, I've heard of it, but I didn't put any thought to it or anything like that. I just, like I said, you asked me to do it. Whatever you're my buddy. So whatever you ask me to do, I support it, and I'm here for it. So.
Would you understand why they're telling me mama for you? So did your mom pass?
No.
Okay. Do you understand mama? That maybe not be your mom, because they are telling me mama for you. So and it's not like, it's not mom, it's not grandma, it's ma.
No.
Okay. So I will ask them what they mean by that then. In the meantime, do you have any questions so that I can connect to your energy on yourself at all? Like you can ask me anything, like if you're thinking about doing something, work, career, love, that's what most people ask.
Usually it's about, I'm trying to work on myself, trying to, I'm more happy within myself. So for me, it's about having a true connection of me, identifying me, working on me. So I've been through a lot, and I have the opportunity to work on me.
So when you say that you've been through a lot, what they do is they make me feel very sad. So I feel like there's a lot of pushing down of emotions and
clarification, clarifying. I guess I'm just looking for, I'm not always happy within myself.
Right. And what they're showing me is because it's because of the pushing down of emotions and not acknowledging what the emotions and the feelings are throughout life. Right. And so coming to this place where it's like, now it's like, I want to understand what's going on with my emotions and my feelings and who am I and all of these different things, but not having the history of being able to process everything that had happened or processing the feelings of everything that had happened. Okay. I'm still trying to ask them on the mama start because they keep saying that. So it's ma is the way that it sounds, just so that you understand. And they continue to bring it up for you. So we will find out what that is, because I know that it's important for whatever reason, because they keep saying it.
Now I acknowledge my mother as ma.
You call her ma? Like it's not, okay. So, and that's important because of the fact that, like, again, they didn't say mom, right? They didn't say grandma. It was like ma. And so if you call your ma, then they're acknowledging ma. Okay?
Not ma, but ma.
No, but ma is what I hear. Ma.
Oh, okay.
And remember, understand, I'm playing charades, right? So I'm going to hear like this, right? So it would be different if I was like, if you called mom, I don't know, Mimi, and I was like ma, then that's not the same thing, right? But if I hear ma is the same thing as ma for me.
Gotcha.
So I'm asking them who's trying to, it's her dad who's trying to communicate with her. I asked her, it's her father. So your grandfather has passed away, correct?
Yes,
her father.
Her father, yeah. I went to, you want me to stop talking?
No, go ahead.
Okay. We recently went on Ancestry.com and she knew her father, but he didn't acknowledge her when he saw her a while back. But he wasn't in the siblings and herself life. So
So he's acknowledging her now from the other side. So it's important for her to get the acknowledgement that he is on the other side, acknowledging as her father. It's and for him, sorry, he gives me stomach pain. So for him, he comes with a sense of shame. So his soul has like shame left on it, right? So a sense of he actually comes through as somebody who didn't fulfill their purpose. So meaning that in his life, what he came here to do, he didn't fulfill it. He got off track and was not, I feel sad for him. I'm going to say it that way. Okay. And I know that your mom's the one who didn't have a father, but I feel sad for him because he just feels like he was lost in his journey here. He feels like he didn't own his life, didn't value his life is what he says, didn't appreciate his life, didn't appreciate the people in his life. He makes me feel, he makes me feel like I want to cry, which I think that's the shame that's coming through. But he makes me feel like, it's hard to explain, like my entire stomach makes me feel like I want to throw up. Like he just is coming through in this like manner of just like complete and total, like on my bended knees, like grief and shame and pity, and like not pity for himself, but pity for the way that he lived his life, and just like and sadness for what he lost and left, and he just feels very unfulfilled. And I know you don't know him, so it's hard to understand, like if you don't know somebody, like all of these different things about them and stuff like that. But it's like his way of trying to get across the point that like he's ashamed of who he was. So for what, I don't know what he did in his life or whatever the case may be, but he's ashamed of who he was, is what he's coming across as. And he says he wasn't the man he should be, but that's obvious if you don't raise your children, right? But that's his message. It feels like he had other children, so it doesn't feel like, so there's like another family somewhere else, okay? So I'm not sure if she has siblings that she just found out she had or whatever the case may be, but he has other children outside of your mom's situation. And he still wasn't like great with them either. He just wants to convey, it feels like he's conveying it to all of you. Like he's not specifically conveying it to your mom, except for he says, Ma. Just that, like any and everything that anybody ever thought about him that was bad or shitty, excuse my words, he deserved. And that, you know, on the other side, he can see and he has remorse. And he says, I wish I could tell people that I love them, and I never really did. So he conveys that. He said he was shady, just so, I don't know, he's using the word shady in a lot of things. I'm not sure if there was like an alcohol issue, because he's showing me like a substance abuse. So that's just what he's conveying to me, like as if he wasn't clear-minded when he was making his decisions. And it feels like that also contributed to whatever his passing was. So whether it be like liver damage or kidney damage, I'm not sure, but it feels like some sort of substance abuse is what can help contribute to it. I don't know that it actually did it, but the long-term use of something helped contribute to his passing. When you guys did your ancestry and stuff, what did he pass from?
I forgot what he passed on. I'm sorry.
Okay. Ask your mom.
Yeah, I will ask.
Because for me, he's like, so Sybil, the person who was taking ownership in the death was not for you. Okay. The person who's taking ownership in his death is actually your grandfather, Jen, because he's, remember I was bringing up like the substance or whatever the case may be, like, did he like that it's the substances that he's taking ownership for. Like there's something that he's taking ownership for his death with this substance. So talk to your mom about it. But I feel like if you guys actually looked into it, you would find that he was some sort of a substance abuser. And I do believe it was alcohol. And it feels like it was like kidneys and livers and stuff like that were part of, his decline in his health and stuff like that.
Okay.
He says to tell you specifically that you're on the right track. So this is about your emotional development, and you're searching for answers in life. It feels like, this is what he says to me. He says, it feels like to him, meaning you, that this is coming, like you wish you could have done it sooner, or that it's like almost like you're a little bit down on yourself for not starting this earlier in your life, but it's like you wouldn't have been able to understand or receive the information. So it's all in perfect timing. And by the way, he does acknowledge you as like, he calls you like my son. I know you're his grandson, but he says it in like a in that kind of a mode, right? Like I'm giving you this message out of love, like a father-son love kind of thing. Like he's giving that kind of advice. He feels better now than when he first started talking to me. So when he first started talking to me, he was so full of shame and guilt and all of this stuff. And he feels like he's been able to kind of just simply being able to communicate with you guys has been able to help him a little bit more on the other side. The most important thing is that it helps you guys on this side, is what he says. And it's just more of the acknowledgement that he understands that he wasn't enough. He wasn't enough. Good enough, nice enough, kind enough, and enough of anything. For anybody, he says. So it wasn't like there was anybody he in particular like took like, he didn't go and like find other people in life and then do a good job for them. He wasn't enough for anybody in his life. And again, I do feel like there was a substance abuse issue because it comes from this place of like, you know, when people are alcoholics or whatever the case may be, they kind of like just drink away their lives. This is what it feels like somebody who wasn't present in his life and missed out on a lot of different things and feels like he missed out on a lot of different things. So sometimes when we have people who come from the other side and they weren't what we wanted them to be, and then they passed over and stuff like that, the healing comes from the part of them acknowledging their wrongdoings. So I think that's important for your mom to understand. And I don't know if she's open to this or not open to this. Sometimes we can relay messages in ways that, you know, people who aren't open to it would still receive them. But it feels like it's important for your mom to understand that he's acknowledging his wrongs in life and that she didn't deserve that. And she was worthy of better, is what he says. And he wishes he would have been better, but he wasn't.
And when you refer to my mom, you're referring to the rest of the kids as well, right? Or just
but to all of the children, but
okay.
Because I'm talking to you, it's to your mom, right? But to all of the people in his life, he says he wasn't enough.
Gotcha.
Right. So he's saying he wasn't enough to anybody. He wasn't enough to a partner in life. He wasn't enough to children in life. He wasn't enough to anybody in life. And all of those people then think that they weren't worthy or whatever the case may be. He says, like, they took it upon themselves as if I'm not willing to do things for them because they weren't worthy of it. But it wasn't that they weren't worthy of it. It's that he wasn't able to give it because it feels like I said, it feels like he was absent from his life. And again, it feels like he was like some sort of an alcoholic or something like that. And that he just didn't have it. He didn't give it to anybody. So they shouldn't feel like they weren't enough because he didn't give it to anybody. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. On your side of things, he wants to talk about you. He says there's a loneliness that you're feeling. And sometimes it's hard because you're on like a show and we don't want to get too personal, right? But so you tell me if you want me to stop talking. But it's like he shows me this, like, it feels weird. It's interesting. You're a very nice guy. It feels like this deep, sad and loneliness. And I'm asking him how come he says like deep, sad and loneliness, but it just really feels like something was missing, is what he says, in your life. I don't know if a father figure was missing in your life or whatever, but it feels like something was just missing. And for some reason you took that as also I'm not worthy type of thing. This seems to be something in your family a lot. So you working on yourself and what he says is that what you're trying to do is understand yourself better. Understand the way you think, understand the way that you feel, understand the reason why you react to certain things and things like that. And for some reason, he too says to make sure that you understand that you're worthy. So I don't know you, so I don't know if you have something inside of you where you don't feel like you feel abandoned. Okay, I'm going to say it this way. So when I say I feel abandoned, it feels like somebody abandoned me in my life, and that then correlates to somebody feeling like maybe they're not worthy, and that's not the case in any way, shape, or form. You are worthy. your feelings are valid. And so he wants to make sure that you understand that your feelings are valid. And he doesn't have to be the one who abandoned you. He's just talking to me from the other side to kind of guide you in this way. Okay. But to understand that your feelings are valid. So sometimes when we have feelings, we're like, well, maybe I'm just making it up, or I shouldn't feel that way. Or other people might say like, oh, you're totally making that up, or maybe you shouldn't feel that way. Your feelings of whatever it is that you're going through are valid, to keep working on them so that you can better understand yourself, and to give yourself a break, is what he says. You don't give yourself enough of a break. Any questions?
No.
Okay.
I took it all in.
So let me ask a follow-up question. So Jen, is there anything that was said that there was some clarity that you want to do, or like on the right path?
I am on the right track. I think what was valid though is that, and I've heard this from other people, is I could be hard on myself. I could be real hard on myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's
like this. Can I just say something real quick that they want to explain?
Sure.
I don't know if you have a daughter or not. I feel like they're telling me it like this. Okay. It's like and that for some reason they're using the word daughter. So if you have a daughter and she's going through like a hard time and stuff like that, you would comfort your daughter. You would give her love. You would comfort her. You would tell her that everything's okay. A son or a daughter, but they use the term daughter for whatever reason. And it's like you don't give yourself the same comfort. And you don't give yourself the same grace that you would give a child or, a child. And you too are somebody's child, right? And so you too need that comfort. And you have to be able to give yourself that space to be wrong, to be vulnerable, to be not as strong as you think you should be, because you're a human having a human experience, right? And you want to be this idea of a person as they're showing me, and there's no room for error, and you got to give yourself room for error. You're human. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that was just, they had to get that out.
So should I tell you what I do? So
yeah, I don't, whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay. So I am a school counselor.
That's hard.
I have no kids. And I give all my energy as a counselor to several teenagers. I'm a high school counselor. So what I do is, when I said earlier that all to other people and not myself, when I'm talking to on a daily basis, I'm making sure that every student, it feels worthy. I'm making sure that every student feels, especially during this time. So when you said about daughters or sons, I look at, because I don't have any kids, I look at my students as my kids.
And so you understand the message that you need to talk to yourself the way that you would talk to them.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, Barbi. All right. Okay.
Thank you. And that's, but I'm a serious, I'm funny and stuff, but I'm being very serious right now because they're being very serious. It's easy to hear that and not absorb it. Okay. So it's easy to say, yeah, I get it. Right. But it's really important for you to absorb it, because you are who you are and you're good at what you do because of the amount that you have to give to other people. If you don't give yourself the space that you need for your self-forgiveness and stuff like that, you're not going to be able to help them. And for you, that the reason why they say it that way is because it's so important for you to be able to help them, that the only way it feels like you'll work on yourself is if you know that it's going to translate into helping them. Okay. So that hopefully will nudge you a little bit more into taking care of yourself and honoring your feelings and your limitations and things like that, so that you'll have the ability and the energy and the purpose to help them too, even more, right? If your cup's there's that saying, if your cup is empty, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So we got to get you back into a place where you feel whole again. And that's just by you giving yourself some grace, like you would tell them. Okay. Yeah, I wish I had more time with you privately, but I'm not going to spill all your stuff on because there are some other things. But I'll maybe I can touch base with you and give you a little bit more. Oops, sorry, that would be my golden retriever.
All right, all the way from Ohio, we have Rebecca up to, and I'm hoping all of you all are taking this in. You know, it's good that you all are in this space, even though she hadn't started reading you. I think it's just an opportunity to hear, you know, the advice and direction that Barbi is given, because I'm sure, even though she was talking to Jen, there's a feeling that I could feel as she was talking to Sybil. There was feeling things that I could sort of take on ownership as well. And I'm also seeing you all write notes, and I'm taking notes as well.
Yeah. So Rebecca, you're funny because you remind me of Demi Moore. I'm sure you get that a lot. Do you get that a lot?
I do, and I don't see it, but yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. Gorgeous. I mean, if I want to look like somebody, Demi Moore is one of them. So you're sassy. So you're fun.
I am. Well, I like it.
You're very sassy. Yeah. So I like your personality because you're fun and sassy and you get it. Yeah, you get it. That's fun. What questions do you have? And then we'll see who we can connect to for you.
Well, so when LaMarr asked me to do this, I was really excited. I was like, oh, yes, absolutely. I recently went through just a big change in my life and actually spoke to a spiritual reader over the phone who really gave me a lot of clarity at that time. And so I guess, you know, one of the questions I have is whether or not like I'm on the right path as far as like healing, and whether I'll like be able to get to a space where I'll be healed enough to be like in a healthy, loving relationship.
Right. So that was exactly where they were going. As soon as you started talking about your healing, where it ends you up in a relationship, because your biggest self lack is that lack of love and like that having that partner that you want to have in your life and all that stuff in a healthy relationship. So yes, I mean, there's never a wrong path to healing, right? Anytime you're working on yourself, it's a path. I mean, unless you're healing through cocaine and, you know, marijuana and getting drunk all the time, anything that you're doing that's positive is a positive path, right? So yes, you're on a good path towards the healing. The reason why the healing is important for you is because, like a lot of women, you attract the same type of guy. Okay. So the only way for you not to attract the same type of guy is to heal the wounds that are inside, so that then you're not putting out that energy out there, so that you're getting like a better level of energy, which would then give you a better level of a guy, right? So think of people working on like a vibrational level. So if you're working on a vibrational level that's lower, the people that you attract in your life are lower. So your healing is going to move you up vibrational levels, and then you're going to attract somebody who's healthier, right? And so you're codependent is what they tell me. And that's a big no-no when it comes to relationships, right? Because you then choose that your values based on what that person's opinion is of you. So for you, I would say working on the not being codependent would be important in your life. Because then when you have your own value, then you're not going to be looking for somebody to give you that value. And that's what you do in relationships. You're looking for somebody to give you the value of what you're worth through their view, right? So they're talking about like you picking things that bring joy to yourself, like little hobbies and things like that, that kind of just make you happy. That would be a good way for you to start on bringing your vibration up. Stop being so hard on yourself. Again, you guys all have like a little bit of that in common. I think that's why you know Darnell, because he's hard on himself too. And so you guys all kind of have that energy. But for yourself, it's like judgmental, Rebecca. It's like a judgmental hard on yourself. Do you understand? Stop judging yourself. Okay. Like a deep judgment. Like it's just like one of those people that walks around the day talking about like, you're like your worst enemy, right? Like you would never say the stuff in your head that you say to other people. So we need to get you to stop judging yourself throughout the day and judging every comment you make or decision you make or whatever the case may be, because you actually make very good decisions, but then you have to sit there and second guess them 100 times. So the good decision is not appreciated or celebrated. Okay. You're very smart. You know this. And so understanding that you're very smart means that you're going to make good decisions. So just trust in that. Okay. You make bad decisions when it comes to men. So don't trust in your decisions with men. Sorry, you're not
Sybil,
there
put your
yet.
head down. Put your head up, Sybil.
I'm getting go because I feel like Barbie's not talking to Rebecca. She's not talking to me.
Yeah. Well, when you're a sensitive female, unfortunately, a lot of us have like the same issues, right? So it can cross qualify for both of you, but in particular with Rebecca, what I would tell you is that you have friends that will tell you somebody's bad for you and you don't listen to them. You need to start listening to your friends. Okay. Because you can't see right now, what you're bringing home. Because you haven't gotten there yet, right? You're still in the weeds or whatever the case may be. So keep working on yourself. And if somebody tells you, hey, I don't really think that that's a good person for you, I would definitely listen, because they're looking out for your best interest where you're not yet able to make that, but you'll get there. You'll get there.
I was getting there somewhat.
Well, you will. It's a process, right?
Right.
So it's a process. It's always a process. I would say what they tell me is the minute you see a similarity in the person that you're talking to that relates to somebody else that you were dating, run.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. Because you pick the same people. So the minute you see that similarity, run. And there's like a few things that are very common in all of them. And it's literally like run. Don't make an excuse for it. Don't try to excuse it. Don't give them, oh, it was a bad day. None of that stuff. Like, it's just run. You're done. I'm done with you, because you're just now attracting the same person. Okay. On the mediumship side of it, I don't know. Because again, when there's so many people, it's hard to determine who goes to who, but there's a person who claims to be an aunt who is coming through. So I don't know if the aunt belongs to you or them, but she's giving me the level of an aunt. Okay. It feels like, if I was guess what it feels like a mother's sister. So did your mom's sister pass? Yeah. Okay, good. That's what it felt like. Okay. She's funny. So they're funny. Their personalities come through. So when I look it up and you guys don't know what the heck I'm looking at, I'm just like kind of talking to them or whatever the case may be. But they come through in a certain like way, and her personality comes through. So I like her. She's funny.
And she was funny.
She's bringing up the kid. Do you understand this? She calls him, I feel like it's a him, the kid. It's specifically like that. She's like, I'm bringing up the kid. I'm going to tell you what it feels like. And I don't know if this was just how it feels to me. It feels like a child that has passed over. So this could be a kid that miscarried. This could be a kid that wasn't born. And you don't even have to answer this. Sometimes personal stuff comes up. I don't know, but she's just, you can say yes or no if you understand that she's bringing up the kid. And then if you don't, that's fine. Maybe you'll figure it out later. But this feels like it's a child that either died very early in life and or wasn't born. It feels like was not born. So could be that she had a miscarriage when she was, okay, you understand this. Okay, good. And I'm just going to leave that at that. I'm just letting you know that she's bringing up the kid and says that the kid is with her. So that's an important message for whoever that message goes to. The kid is with her, and she wants you guys to know that. Okay. And I'm going to leave that alone at that. I also want you to understand that she's bringing up the fact that she says that she guides you and she plays with you. So when I say she plays with you, is that she feels like she's a prankster on the other side. Okay. So she feels like she likes to mess around with people, and she thinks it's very funny. Messing around with other people would be like moving people's stuff. So she likes to acknowledge the fact that she likes to move people's stuff. They have to go look for it. She thinks it's absolutely hilarious. Like, she's literally laughing as she's telling me that she moves people's stuff around. So if you, I feel like she does it with you, but it feels like she does it with what she says is her sister. So I'm not sure what sister she does it with, but she likes to move their stuff. So if people get frustrated because they find that their stuff seems to be missing, understand that that is her messing around, moving people's stuff. And she absolutely thinks this is hilarious for whatever reason. Like, she's just, I mean, they like to prankster on the other side, but she really takes joy in this. Like, this is her pride and joy to mess with people. So I don't know what she was like in real life. She's a prankster on the other side.
What's strange is for the last half hour, my light keeps
flickering. Yeah. Yeah. It's because when the energy is there, that's how they can communicate easily, is with electricity. So they will do that. They will absolutely flicker lights. And that's just showing you that the energy is there beside you. if you guys ever are interested, do you see this little bell on my thing right there? If you ever really want to get scared, one of these little like bells, like they have like on desk, ding, 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 and they can do that. It's really fun, but it might freak you out. Anyways, so the other message from her, she just wants to come and let you know that she's, well, one, she thinks she's funny, but two, that, you know, she is with you. I think, again, bringing up the child just to make sure that you understand that she is with the child. And she just wants you to love yourself a little bit more is what she says. She just says she's such a good girl. Just tell her to love herself a little bit more. Yeah. Okay.
Any questions, Rebecca? Anything making any sense?
It all makes sense.
So Barbi, I have a question for you. Can you talk about the different Claires that exist? You know, in the introduction, they didn't hear, we talked about a variety of ways how people feel spirits. And one of the things that, and you know, Jen referenced, you know, being a believer in Jesus. And we know biblically there's been people in all the holy books that had very similar gifts. Some people call them a gift of discernment, that those gifts exist. But could you give some clarity on the different Claires, and then also talk about some of the, you know, some of the questions that people typically ask you that may be consistent across the board that the average person wants to know. I think Rebecca went right into one of those things, I think, is relationships. So if you could talk about the Claires, some of the questions that you're constantly asking, and then if you can help the three that are here, some things that they can work on for themselves to continue the conversation. And then all of you all are going to have access to Barbi. Barbi is offering a discount for all of our SoundBalming folks. And you know, I really appreciate her stopping, because I know all of you all, but I don't know everything about all of you all. And I know I've asked this of Barbi before. I said, at what point do you just stop when the spirit is about to say something? And then how do you sort of reshift that conversation, maybe in a space where it's more than one person, or you may want to try to come up with a different way of saying it. So one of you could talk about the Claires, some of the popular things that people typically ask you. And then what are some things, because we have about 15 minutes left, some of the things that the three of them, Sybil, Gent, and Rebecca, can work on for themselves.
Okay. So Claire's, so I always try to explain to everybody what I do is something everybody can do. There's different levels of it. Okay. So, and the easiest way for me to explain this, and it's the analogy I always use, is that you can go into the gym and you can start lifting weights. And as you build that muscle, you get better and better, and you can lift heavier weights, right? So right now I'm lifting a 500-pound weight. And maybe you're not ready for a 500-pound weight. You can't just go talk to people on the other side or whatever the case may be. But you can start off with like 5 pounds, right? And you work at 5 pounds, and you work you start building that muscle by using your Claires, which I'm going to go over what the Claires are in just a second. But you start working that weight. And then once you get used to that weight, then you can go and you can get up to 10 pounds, and then you go up to 15. And maybe you never want to lift 500 pounds, but we want to use our Claires and communicate so that we can use this guidance in our life, because we're given these gifts as guidance. They're tools for us to let us know. It's like when you get that gut feeling, you shouldn't be doing something. And then if you don't listen to your gut, you're like, dang, I wish I would have listened to my gut, right? Well, the feeling in your gut comes because it's trying to guide you. So what we want to do is teach you how to receive the information, and then how to trust the information so that your life is a little bit easier, right? So that you're not always fighting against the stream or going up the current, or whatever the case, whatever they call that. So we receive information a variety of different ways. The most common way we receive information is through feelings, our senses, right? So that would be your gut feeling. Like, I don't feel like this feels right. Or feeling the energy in a room. You guys walk into a room and you're like, ooh, it's dark in here. Like it's like gross. There's too much energy. It's nice, kind energy. Or, you know, you meet somebody and you're like, wow, that person is just not a good person. I don't know how they're not a good person. I don't know that person. They're just not a good person, right? So these are like your feelings. Also with your feelings, though, is how they communicate is, remember I was talking about somebody on my neck, right? This left side. So what they did is they gave me that Claire, that's called clairsentience. And they give me the feeling of this area being something going on with this area. So I will actually feel that in my body. So when spirit wants to talk to you, they can touch you on the shoulder. So you feel it, right? They can pat your hair. You can feel that. And then you would also get it in like feelings, like I said, like your gut and stuff like that. Okay. So it's important for us because there's two different kinds of the spirit, right? So there's the people who've crossed over and they like to touch us and get us to get their attention and stuff like that. But then there's also just like your guidance system, right? So whatever you want to call that, you can call that God, you can call that spirit guide, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but that's your guidance system. So we want to start trusting this in our life. And so we need to start trusting our gut feelings. We need to start trusting that feeling of when I walk into a room, this is not a safe space for me. Have you ever heard like a woman walks down the street and she knows that there's a man walking behind her, but there's no noise or anything like that, and that she didn't trust her gut and then something ended up happening to her? Or whatever the case may be. It could be a guy walking down the street. He feels like he's going to be robbed, but he didn't trust his gut, but he could feel it in his body, right? So we need to start trusting ourselves so that we get out of situations that we're not supposed to be in. And then we need to trust ourselves so we can allow situations, right? So sometimes we feel like, oh, this feels right, but then we get scared and we don't do it. So we need to be able to trust our feelings, okay? So that's clairsentience. Claircognizance is just knowing stuff, right? So sometimes, you be talking to, okay, it's like this. Sometimes, you be talking to somebody and you kind of just know what they're going to say, or is that just me? That might just be, I don't know. Right. Okay. I think everybody has this, right? Like you're just in a conversation. You're like, I already know what they're going to say. This is kind of crazy. It's almost like deja vu or whatever the case may be. So this is your knowing, right? You kind of just already know. So we got to trust our knowing, because sometimes we just know stuff. And if we would just go with what we get, we would actually be doing much better than if we start analyzing it in our mind, right? So we get this great information and then we have to go through and we have to analyze it. And then we don't end up doing what our knowing told us to do. And then we find out we would have been better the other way, okay? So that's claircognizance, just a knowing. And that knowing can also come in, like the feelings, like I was saying, like just sometimes, like somebody's just a bullshitter just by like meeting them, right? You get a feeling that they're like not the great person. Then you just like, all of a sudden you just know like this guy's like a bullshitter, whatever. You get a clear knowing. Okay. Clairaudience is when you hear. So this is one that is not often, people don't recognize it because they think that you have to hear externally. Okay. So when I say hear externally, it's like you got to hear like a ding on a bell or doorbell or whatever the case may be, which we do get. So sometimes I'll be sitting in my office and I'm working and the doorbell will ring and I'll go answer the door and there's nobody there. Well, it's spirit playing joke on me. And I never figure it out. And I always go and answer the door. But also oftentimes we'll hear messages in our mind. Okay. You're not crazy. Like you're not going crazy because you're hearing thoughts in your mind. But have you ever just like sat there and you ask a question and then you get an answer, but it doesn't sound like your voice? That would be you getting clairaudience. That's your clear knowing, them speaking to you in your mind, giving you the information and you hear it. It doesn't sound like your voice. It usually comes very fast. So if it's a rattle on and on and on and on, that's your mind and your ego. If it just goes really fast and you just have the information, that's them giving you the message through clairaudience. Okay. If you hear it, it goes really fast. The other way that they give messages through clairaudience is they will play songs for us, especially the people who've passed over, because songs always have meanings, right? So there'll be like certain songs that mean something to us. So they'll put that song on the radio for you. And that's their way of telling you that they're there and they love you. And that's just their message to you. So if you randomly hear, okay, I'm thinking about grandma, and all of a sudden grandma's song comes on the radio. Do you think that that's random? No, I'm thinking about grandma because grandma just came and her energy came by me and she played that song for me. Okay. Do you understand this? So these are things they want you to acknowledge because it's important, because it's their way of communicating with you. And then the last thing is just like getting like a download of information, right? So sometimes like we'll just, I do what's called channeling. So half the time when I'm talking, it's just like downloads of information. I have no idea what's coming through. I can't remember the last sentence that I said. It's just like a download. You ever like put together stuff and you have no idea how you know how to put together, but you just put it together and it's just like, oh, I already knew how to do that. And people are like, oh, I didn't even look at the instructions. This kind of stuff. They just download information. Okay. So the reason why all of these things are important for us to know and understand is so that we can start using them in our day-to-day life. If you get a gut feeling that something's good or bad, trust your gut. Don't go against it. Trust it. If you hear stuff, you're not crazy. You're just getting a message. Again, if they're telling you to go shoot somebody, you're probably crazy. Don't do that. But for the most part, they're not saying stuff like that, right? The most part, okay, like this. Okay, this is what they're telling me because somebody here hears this. So if you hear like, I love you in your head, like it just sounds like a voice says, I love you. out of nowhere, that is somebody giving you the message, I love you, out of nowhere, because you're not going to be sitting there talking to yourself going, I love you. Okay. And remember, it doesn't sound like yourself. It's very quick. So they just want you to know when they're talking to you, but they also want you to trust in yourself, and so that you can make decisions that are better for yourself. Does that make sense? Typical questions that I get asked: what's the lotto numbers? Dude, if I knew the lotto numbers, I would not talk to you right now. Okay, I'd be on my yacht. Like, I don't know the lotto numbers, right? It's not how the gift works. Would love to know the lotto numbers. But most things are about relationships. Rebecca touched on that. Like, when's love going to come to me? Look, the fact of the matter is you could go out tomorrow and find somebody to waste your time on. That's not what you want. Okay. So the tools are the tool. What they offer are the tools to help you find the person that is going to be the person for you. And those are the things that we try to give, not like go down aisle 5 at, Walmart and there's your guy. That's not the way it works. It's, yeah, I could tell you go down aisle 5 and you find a guy and that'd be a horrible person for you. What you need to do is work on the tools, right? To the tools that they give you to find the person that's a good vibrational match for you. They always want to know about work, right? Work is always a big thing. Career work. What is my purpose in life? And there is a misconception that there's one purpose for every person. We have so many purposes in life, right? And it's not always to do with what we do for a living. Luckily, Jet does something for a living that is his purpose in life, right? Like, I think that it's amazing that you can do something that is your purpose and you get paid for it. Not many people get to do that. And that's very hard to come across. So what we do is we find our purpose in other things, and we can find it in work, but we can find it in other things, and we value it. Like, I'm a mother, so I find some purpose in being a mother. I'm a wife. I find some purpose in being a wife. I'm an intuitive. I find some purpose in that. I don't put all of my purpose into one thing. And a lot of people are always looking for, what's my purpose? Well, my love, if you look around, you have lots of purposes, right? The other questions are, so it's usually money. Like, they always want to know about finances, love, what's my purpose, job. Those are the common questions that we get asked. And the fact of the matter is, almost everybody knows before they even ask the question, the answer. You just want me to validate it. Sometimes I won't give you the validation that you want, because sometimes you want me to validate a dumb decision. I'm not going to do that, right? But I will guide you towards figuring out where you're supposed to go. And then things for you guys to do. So all three of you are in a place where you need some healing. Okay. Most people are, right? We're all just always evolving. But I would say, if I'm going to give them individually, Jen, it just needs to, I'm listening to them. Give me a second. What they want you to do. One, they want you to acknowledge your absolute, I'm trying to like explain how big they call it, like contribution to the world. So not many people can talk to, teenagers, right? I have one that's going on 13 right now, and sometimes I just don't even want to talk to her. She's just so annoying. So they need guidance. They can't go, a lot of times kids can't go to their parents. Sometimes the parents are complete absent in their life. Maybe they don't get it, whatever the case may be. But these kids live in this place where they need guidance and they need somebody that they can trust. And you've become this person for them. So they want you to acknowledge that. They being spirit world, whatever you want to call it, God, to acknowledge that you heal and help so many people in life. And and using your, as far as like you use, so they tell me that you use your gifts all the time. So for example, instinctively when somebody's lying to you, especially the kids, right? When they're telling you the truth, not telling you the truth, you get a feeling that this is what's going on. So you're using those gifts already in life. For you, the part is just giving the same grace and feeling to yourself. And as far as using the gifts go, it's just more of, there's not a gift I can tell you to use except for the fact to be open a little bit more to receiving the love that's being given to you. Okay. So let's see. All of you guys are hard workers, they tell me, just so you know. And they bring that up for all of you, but then they're talking to Sybil right now at this moment, just saying, again, all of you guys are hard on yourself. It's funny that you all three are here. You're all very hard on yourself. You're all hard workers. You all add a lot to the world, and you all are good people. So it's more of acknowledging that. So Sybil, they like to, I'm asking them how they communicate with you. So you do get the thoughts in your mind, right? So you get information through thoughts in your mind is what they tell me. So just acknowledging those thoughts, that they're not your mind playing tricks on you, your mind answering, that's actually them answering for you. And the reason they want you to understand this is because, one, you have to understand that they'll just come out of nowhere. They're just random. And you're like, what the heck? I wasn't even thinking about that. So that is one way for you to acknowledge that that's what they are. And the other way for you to acknowledge that that's what they are is that they just come and then they go. So there's no repeated thought through it until you get hooked on it. And then you want to think about it for 20, 30 minutes. But the actual thought in and of itself, it just comes and then it goes. And so that's your message from them, is to understand that those thoughts are true. They're coming from the other side. They're coming for your guidance, and just to trust those thoughts. Okay. Rebecca gets feeling. So again, a lot of your stuff comes through feeling. So they just want you to acknowledge when you meet somebody, trust your gut. Okay. Trust your feeling, because the people that you've picked, every single time you pick somebody who isn't good for you, you knew they weren't good for you the minute that you met them, and then you continue to move forward. So they just want you to trust your gut. Okay, you have a good gut instinct, and then not make excuses for other people, because you don't need to. Okay. And so LaMarr offered the fact that for you guys, and then anybody who's listening, so my website is barbidahl.com, BARBIDAHL.com. And for anybody who is listening, or for you guys or whatever, the special that I'm offering through the show is $20 off of a $50 reading. And you would just use the code when you go on there. Just go under services, and you'll find all my services, and use the promo code SoundBalming, and that will give you his $20 off. And you can always email me. My email's info@barbidahl.com if you didn't get that code. My phone number is 657-221-9204. Please do not text me in the middle of the night. I will not respond.
Say the number one more time.
657-221-9204. Best way to communicate with me is email, because I do actually answer emails in the middle of the night.
Well, Barbi, it is a pleasure hanging out with you one more time. You were amazing, like always. I just want to thank Rebecca, Sybil, and Gent for allowing Barbi to spend some time with you, read you. You are our first part of this special edition of SoundBalming. It's been an honor hanging out with you all. Hope that the information that was given today is very, very helpful, and that you go and continue to do the work. Any final thoughts, Barbi, before we wrap up?
No, just gratitude. Thank you guys for opening up and coming and allowing. Thank you to all on the other side that came through for you. Know that they love you. And now I would say have fun looking for their communications. You know how they're going to communicate. Electricity, number one, moving stuff. They like to do that. And just they'll send you stuff. So that's another thing. Remember, if you can tell them if you want somebody to, like, mama, grandpa, whatever, you can say, send me this, send me a butterfly, put a nickel down, put a penny down. They'll listen, they'll play. Just tell them.
Well, we appreciate you all for hanging out. Again, my name is Dr. LaMarr Darnell Shields, the host of SoundBalming. I also want to thank my engineer, Alexander Blanc, my super duper producer, Nicole Klimpaka, Supremacy for our theme music, and all of you for listening. Make sure you subscribe. Stop being stingy. Leave a comment. You want to know more about me, go to drdrlds.com. And as always, believe that something wonderful is about to happen. But some people miss the message because they're too busy looking for the mess. But not you all. You've been listening to SoundBalming. Peace. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey guys, this is Barbi Dahl reminding you that I'm offering you $20 off of a 50-minute reading. Use promo code SoundBalming on my website, which is barbidahl.com. That's BARBIDAHL.com. Can't wait to hear from you.